Okay, so from there, okay, so we changed the record, and then it says recording in the bottom left, so I'm guessing that just means that it's recording.
Are you able to put it on here? Let me see it on there. Okay, it's recording on it.
I'm very sorry that this is taking a little bit. This is the first time we've actually been able to meet up in person.
You have to.
So,
Since we record B-roll, we just like record
yeah.
different things.
You want me to carry that?
Yeah. So now we'll do it before it changes.
Okay. How do you...
Okay.
Dangling in the back. It's funny.
Okay.
The interview questions, it's going to be a very relaxed interview. We just really want to know how. We want to know just a little bit more about food pantries.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get people that come and watch the video to just come away with
Once, and then it should tell you to record.
Oh,
Then it
okay.
starts recording, yeah. Then just press it.
Of 2019. Our ministry started in Denton in 2013, and then we got a grant from Texas Health Presbyterian in partnership with First Baptist Church Sanger and Sanger ISD to start this location. Texas Health identified a major need in this area just because it's a rural area, and there's not a lot of places that serve homeless, low income, and underserved. So that's why we started this location. We do food pantry, counseling, and medical from this location. So COVID has definitely changed our food pantry a lot. This area right here is normally our waiting room. So we usually would have chairs set up in here for people to come in and sit down. Prior to COVID, they would come in, sit down, fill out the paperwork. We would take them in a room and do an intake with them and just talk to them about what their needs are and try to match them up with services based on what their needs are. So we're not just feeding them, but also trying to help them get other needs met. So during COVID, we had to really modify everything. We had to make it a drive-up food pantry. So we distribute food out of our garage at the front of the house. And it's pre-packaged. We have these boxes over here that we hand out to them, and they have beans, pasta, cereal, canned goods, just different staples. And we also give them some meat and produce and bread when they come to our food pantry. Prior to COVID, they were able to just come into our grocery store and pick out what they wanted. And that was based on a point system, based on the size of their family. So this is our grocery store, and that's kind of why we had it set up this way. Is for people to be able to get a cart and come through and have a choice about what types of foods they're picking.
That's very cozy.
Yeah, so they come through, a volunteer would come through with them and just kind of keep track of the points for their family, and then they picked what they wanted. But now, for the most part, we're just giving out the boxes, meat, produce. We do also milk and eggs for them when they come in. That's pretty much what you can drink.
Well, I just want to take this little break in the thing to say thank you so much for being here in Sanger, because I actually live here and I know a few people that have come here and gotten some help.
Awesome.
So.
Great. Yeah, we're excited to be here. I live here too. So I was excited when they started this location. I've only been here for about 3 years, but we also, another thing that has happened during COVID that's changed with the way that we're distributing everything is we have a volunteer that comes in and actually gets food and takes it out to people that aren't able to come. So a lot of the homeless, a lot of the elderly that haven't been able to come out of their homes, stuff like that, we've been able to distribute to them as well. So,
That's great.
yeah.
One short thing real quick.
Yeah.
All of the stuff you're saying, we're also going to ask you about later in the
That's
interview
fine.
for it. Okay, perfect. I didn't want you to be mad if we had to make you like repeat yourself or something, you know?
No, that's fine. I think it's good to talk about that stuff while you're doing the tour so that you can
Get like a
understand
perspective.
how we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely helping me. 'Cause I know nothing about a food pantry before I started this project.
So back we have 2 counseling rooms. So this is one of our counseling rooms. And then across the hall is our other counseling room that they're using now. So. And then we also use these same rooms for intake whenever, before COVID, whenever the clients would come in, we would come and sit down and talk to them.
So is the counseling like medical counseling or mental counseling? Or both?
We try to take every opportunity. So if someone comes in for food pantry, we do an intake with them and we talk to them about what services that we have, and we also ask them if they have any other needs. And we have information that we can give them that has all the organizations in the area that do different services. And so we can refer them to other organizations if we need to. We do the same thing in counseling and medical, just to make sure that we're addressing the whole person and that we're not just giving them a handout, but we really want to be able to help them improve their lives.
And you're teaching a man to fix.
Yeah, yeah. So we do a lot of, and out of the Sanger location too is a lot of case management and just working with whole families to try to meet their needs. So, and this is a medical room. So we have a nurse practitioner, Ginger Outlaw here in town, that comes in to volunteer with us right now. And then we have one other doctor that comes in on Saturdays. So recently we've been able to help a client get a sleep study, which is very normally like thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. We have a sleep technician that was able to do an at-home sleep study for them. And then we've also had donated CPAPs that we can give to them for sleep apnea. So that's something that another thing that we've been doing here. But we help people with primary care, just like diabetes, thyroid issues, high blood pressure. Most of our clients probably have not seen a doctor in many years. So they have a lot of, and they wait because they don't have the funds until things get kind of bad with their health. And so we just try to do the best we can to help them manage and get things under control with their health.
Turn their mountains into like small hills.
Yes.
So that you can overcome.
Yeah. Well, and we refer them to programs. There's a program through Texas Health Presbyterian that does diabetes education, which includes a lot of nutrition and just how to take care of themselves. So we refer them to classes like that in the community. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous of the person who got the sleep thing. I just went about one done too.
Yeah, those are expensive.
Oh yeah.
And this is our other medical room.
Oh, I like the paint. Doctor. If I ever seen you should opt in on.
Not with that. What did you want to do?
Yeah, probably the concerts wouldn't be a really good place to do with you, or the kitchen. Just somewhere with some light, you know?
You want to do it in here? I can turn on the big light if that would help. There's like a... But it's not harsh.
It would be like right here and kind of at here, and then you'd be sitting there, and then you'd be like all.
Yeah, right here would be great. Gets a good view. Right here would be good for the camera.
Unless you have like an office with like a desk.
At this location, there's not.
I mean, it's not a big deal at all. You
Yeah.
know, I was just saying so because then we could put like your little name plaque right above it.
Where's it?
It's
Alright.
already on, so you can just start whenever.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first question we have is to tell us about your work, what you do, and just like a quick summary of that. So start off by stating your name, your position with the company, what you oversee, and then what your job entails.
I just have one thing. Are we able to turn this off so it doesn't like mess with the sound or anything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know what you could. There's a power button. On
Oh.
it.
Oh,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah. Okay, awesome.
There we go.
We're episode
Now you guys are
My name is Amanda Keck, and I am the medical clinic coordinator and resource navigator here at First Refuge. We provide food pantry, medical, dental, and counseling in Denton and in Sanger. I think that's
Perfect. Perfect. What were some of the challenges you and your organization faced before COVID? Before COVID, sorry. I said that kind of open-ended.
No, that's okay. Before COVID, I think I'm trying to remember. It's been so long.
It really is.
It's been an ordeal. I think challenges that our organization faced before COVID maybe was getting enough volunteers, especially in the medical department, finding enough doctors. There's always more need when you know, every time we add a provider or add somebody that wants to come in and volunteer and we're able to add more clients, there's always more. And so it's just finding enough volunteers, I think, was a big issue before COVID.
Okay, perfect. This is a kind of like financial slash just supply question. What types of donations do you accept from the public and private citizens?
Okay. We accept any kind of food donations, canned goods, a lot of people go to grocery stores and just get, like, if we need milk or eggs or whatever. We do accept donations in the medical department of unopened insulin and inhalers to help people, and then financial donations.
Perfect. The next question is your pantry getting enough donations?
Right now we are, and actually COVID has kind of helped us in that way because there has been a lot of funding through the county and the government to pay for a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that we're able to provide now that we didn't as much before. We're getting fresh produce boxes from a grant from the county that we're able to give out at every food pantry. Borden Milk donated milk for, I think it was like a couple of months. And then we've also gotten grant money to be able to purchase that. So our supply has actually gone up. And the other thing is we work with North Texas Food Bank and Tarrant Area Food Bank. And they have been providing, normally we pay less for the food, but we have to pay something. And we've been getting free food from them. So that's helped.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So you actually answered the next question too, because the next one was if you're getting enough funding.
Yeah.
You also answered the sixth one. Perfect. That was a good question right there. A good answer. Okay, so this question is, how has COVID affected the amount of first-time recipients at your pantry?
They've gone way up. Here in Sanger, we had just opened, and so we had maybe like 12 people come in for food at every food pantry. And we've gotten up to 70 that have come in for each food pantry. So the need has gone up a lot. And in Denton, it's the same thing. We've had like 70 to 100. We're normally there, we would have about 30. So,
Okay. And then we want to know, how has COVID directly affected your food pantry through donations, recipients, workers, volunteers, just kind of how COVID has affected the goings on here.
okay. One of the ways it's affected us is we had to change. Here in Sanger, we had to change to drive-up food pantry. In Denton, it's drive-through. So we weren't able to have clients come in. And I think that's affected things for the clients as well, because we're not able to sit and talk with them as much and just offer that support. We do pray with them and talk to them when they're in their cars, but it's just not really the same thing. So I think that's one way it's affected. Also, kind of towards the beginning of things, we had to stop having volunteers come in just because of the concern of the spread and infection control.
Mm-hmm.
So we as a staff had to work every single food pantry by ourselves, which was a pretty small, like we have less than 10 people that work at our organization. So it was really honestly kind of team building.
Mm-hmm.
It helped our staff because it was kind of something that seemed overwhelming at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but we all worked as a team just to make it happen. So I think that's a good way, one of the positive things that came out of it. And then also we have re-implemented outside volunteers coming in, but we still have, I'm guessing maybe 35 to 40% of our volunteers that don't feel comfortable coming in to volunteer because of COVID. So it has affected restarting our volunteer process. Did I miss anything?
Oh, that was a great answer. That was a great answer. The next question is, how has your organization faced any new challenges dealing with first-time visitors? Like, when somebody's brand new, they need the help, maybe don't want to accept it fully, or making them know that it's okay to need it.
Yeah, I think a big part of that has been our volunteer that takes food out into the community, because those are some of the people that haven't been able or haven't been willing to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're taking it to where they are. And then also our executive director, I think, does a really good job of just getting the word out and letting people know when we're doing pantries, letting people know that they now can come in weekly, so providing more opportunities and just helping people realize that we're here for whatever they need.
So the next question is, has there been any supply chain issues that have affected your organization? Maybe like not enough drivers, maybe because of a big backlog?
Yeah, because of the increased demand, we have had to move food around a lot more. We store at different locations, and so we did have to hire extra people, extra transport, and people to move food. And then there has also been differences in what's available for us to order from the food bank. Like, we can't order a lot of the same things that we did before, and then a lot of what they're doing is pre-packaged stuff, and so that has changed in that way.
Okay. You answered that one. I don't understand that one. We went over these and they made sense in the moment, you know, when we're all on a Zoom call at like 10 o'clock at night after work and school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not
That's
gonna,
it.
it just says, is there any repurposing being done?
Well, I could say yes to that, and that during the time that the staff had to work in other, like, we all worked the food pantry, even though we work in other locations. So yeah, I think with staff, we had to repurpose that.
Okay.
So.
Well, you just did a great job making sense of our bad question. We wanted to ask you if there are any local farmers involved. Would they... I'm going to reword this a little bit. Are there any local food... See, now I'm starting to mess up a little bit. Camera. Are there any local farmers involved with your food pantry?
Yes, we do partner with Shallow Gardens here in Denton, and they provide produce for us. And we are actually working on a new project for a community garden here in Sanger. So.
Okay. Okay. This one's a little different from the rest of them because it's a prediction question.
Okay.
Regarding the future, are there any plans for the impending recession?
I think for us, our vision and the way we move forward is just new locations. So we have a vision for opening within the next few years, like 5 more locations in rural areas. So that's kind of how we look at the future and we look to God for our plans and our leading. And so we just trust him and we do what he asks us to do in the moment as well. So.
Perfect. That's all our questions. I'm going to ask one more because I really liked your answer when talking about this. When I asked you if your counseling is for medical or mental, and you said that they were both, I thought that was really great. So, how do we word this in a question? Any thoughts, Christian?
I thought the question you asked me was good, but I don't remember what it was.
I think it was only good because like it led right into your tour,
Yeah.
and like now we need it for a standalone.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, it's taking a
No,
little bit.
that's fine.
What was it about mental health?
It was because they offer counseling.
Yeah.
And I asked if it was for mental health or medical. And she said that it was actually for both, and they give just as much importance to both.
Like it's the whole person. We do intakes in each department, and yeah.
Okay, so
Are the services
yeah,
equal
I'm just
or
gonna
more
say,
priority?
I guess you can just talk over like what kind of counseling you guys offer, and then like other stuff
Yeah.
you guys offer too.
we'll just say something like, could you please explain to us the counseling section of First Refuge?
Okay. Yeah, we have multiple licensed counselors that offer. We have couples counseling, we have individual counseling, and then we also have some play therapy at times. All of our counselors are volunteers, and we do really talk to people when they come in an intake appointment in any department, and try to address the needs of the whole person and talk to them about what their needs are anytime that they come into our building.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for the interview, Miss Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. We bring a lot of the boxes out here, and then we use the carts to bring the food out. And so we bring a box and then the cart that has all the meat, the bread, the produce, and we take it out to their car for them. They all pull in this parking lot.
And you guys distribute food like every day, every morning, or?
Here
certain
in
days?
Sanger, it's Monday afternoons and Thursday mornings. And we are about to add an evening food pantry as well. So in Denton, we have 3 food pantries. One on Monday morning, one on Wednesday afternoon, and one on Thursday evening.
That good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Name and job description, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
just something simple.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Claire Brown. I'm the pantry manager here at Metro Crest Services. My job mostly just entails making sure we have food available for our clients, helping coordinate volunteers, and making sure everything runs smoothly in the back when it comes to having enough food, having enough people to give out the food, and making sure the client and volunteer experience is a really positive one. Is that good? Okay.
And then you prepared answers or researched a little bit?
I read the question.
I'll read the question.
Okay.
You answer. Maybe we'll do a little follow up. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start with the first one now. Tell us about your work in a quick summary, please. I'm sorry, got that
Yeah,
there.
I did that one.
Now, here we go. Okay, so before the COVID crisis, what challenges did this pantry face?
That was not one of the questions, but that's okay. Before this crisis,
changed it.
what were some of the challenges this pantry faced? Okay, I can answer it. It's fine. So before COVID started, the pantry was running pretty smoothly. The biggest challenge we probably had was space-wise, which became an even bigger challenge post-COVID. We had a good team of regular volunteers, so for the most part, volunteer-wise, we were doing well, and the whole agency as a whole really helped with the client experience. And food-wise, we were also doing really well, so we were really lucky before COVID. Everything was running pretty smoothly, and it was a smooth-sailing ship, and then COVID happened, and it kind of jostled everything all around. I should have thought of that beforehand, sorry.
You had fresh eyes. Were you able to contribute to some of their?
I think so. So because I hadn't been here for too long before COVID hit, just a couple months, and actually within the first, I think, month and a half of me being here, our actual building had a flood. So I've been here through a lot of different phases of the pantry, and I do think it helped me be able to pivot more because nothing was normal to me. So everything has been an adjustment, and there was no normal. So what we did before and what we were doing now didn't feel like the wrong way or the right way, just felt like a new way, just like the original way felt. So, yeah.
And then we'll kind of work into how things work. So, what type of donations do you accept from the public and then from the private sector?
Okay, so public donations, we accept food, obviously, we're a food pantry. From private individuals, we only accept non-perishable food, so you can't donate frozen meat or milk. It's mostly canned items or dry items. We also give out hygiene and household items here, so that's our most needed items, are also the most expensive for us to purchase as well. So things like laundry soap, deodorant, we also give out diapers and feminine hygiene. So we accept all of that from individual donors. We do have also retail partners. We had to suspend that somewhat during COVID because a lot of what they gave us was perishable and we just didn't have the storage to keep that. But we have retail partners, community garden partners. We partner with companies like Amazon, which is a recent partner who's been really awesome giving us private donations, but most of the donations have to be non-perishable unless they're coming from a trusted retail partner, and they come mostly from private individuals.
The storage.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so we were talking about that, the storage issues. Could you expound on that for us, please?
Yeah, so a lot of the food that is hardest for clients to get and they really value the most are things like frozen meat, milk, eggs, produce, and most of that are things that require refrigeration or freezer space. And we were equipped for the freezer and refrigeration space that we had pre-COVID. It was a little bit short, but we always made it work. And then post-COVID, when our client volume increased so much, it's doubled, then tripled, then quadrupled, it made our storage space a lot more difficult, and we were cramming things wherever we could. We're in the process of installing a new refrigerator and freezer that we're very excited about, and once that's installed, it should solve most of our problems on that front. We also have had some trouble with dry storage as well. When COVID first hit, we had one off-site warehouse which housed dry storage like canned goods and pasta. When COVID hit, we actually got a second site because we ended up having over 300 pallets of dry food that we needed to store. We have recently lost both of those warehouses and we're in the process of finding a new one. But we've recently learned that Dallas is a hard space to find warehouse space right now. So as we're solving the refrigerator freezer front, we're having to really figure out what to do on the dry front as well. Yeah.
Do you feel like, okay, well, you may have already answered this, but do you feel like the pantry is getting enough donations?
Right. On the donation front, when COVID first hit, there was a real scarcity of food. Just like people saw at the grocery store, we were seeing on the back end as well. It felt impossible for us to find the food that we needed. The community really stepped up and helped. If we said we needed green beans and corn, if they could find it at the store, they brought it to us. So that was a tremendous blessing. I forgot the question.
But are you getting enough?
Are we getting enough? Okay.
Here, I'm gonna stop.
Okay, so are we getting enough donations from the community? What it really boils down to is the more donations we get from the community, the less we have to supplement with our own supplies that we either purchase or acquire elsewhere. So there's no such thing really as too much donations at this point, probably ever, because we're always going to probably be having to buy food, and the more donations we get, the less we have to buy and the more funds can go elsewhere.
So would you feel like you're getting enough funding?
Funding wise, okay, so our agency as a whole does more than just pantry. Our agency also does things like rent help, workforce help. So the agency as a whole funding versus pantry funding gets a little bit tricky to answer. We get a lot of our funding from grants, from individual donors. We have enough funding currently, and lucky for us, North Texas Food Bank is providing all of our food for free due to COVID. So we're not running out of food, but things like a fridge freezer cost money, things like making sure our truck and we have warehouse space, and all of that costs more money, and with the increased demand, there's always increased need for funding. So the nature of a nonprofit is we always need more funding. There's always more solutions we can be creating with more funding at our disposal.
Yeah, that is my next question, was solutions. So if you had your choice of potential solutions for these smaller issues, obviously it looks like you guys are doing pretty well, what would that be?
So some solutions that we are already in the process of installing is that new fridge freezer we mentioned. We are also in the process of getting a large container in the back to help with our drive-through pantry. Really, our biggest struggle right now is warehouse space, which we are now going to have to start paying for. So that's where most of our funding is going to go towards. Previously, our warehouse space had been donated space. So we're really looking for all the partners that we can find in the community that can help us in different areas, as well as just keep showing the community what we do as an organization, and hopefully that will help foster what we need to continue to grow and to continue to serve the community.
I think a branch off question from that we don't have is, what is the process of becoming someone to help here? Like, is it a long process?
Okay. Pre-COVID, volunteers had to come and do a tour just so that they had an idea of what the agency was about before they started volunteering. It was really a way to get our volunteers involved, not only volunteering, but really knowing what we do as an organization. Because when COVID hit, a lot of our volunteers were retired folks. We had to ask them, if you are in an at-risk group, just for your safety, if you would feel more comfortable staying home, please do so. So we lost almost our entire volunteer base when that happened in the span of one day. And so we suspended that tour part of our volunteer process. So right now, to become a volunteer, all you have to do is go on our website, click the volunteer tab, fill out an application that takes about 2 minutes, and then you can immediately start signing up for shifts.
Wonderful.
Overall, due to COVID, I think our agency, as much as it was behind the scenes, a bit of a struggle to figure out exactly the best way to pivot and work best for our clients. I think we have been incredibly successful. We have never had to turn anyone away from food. We've always felt like our families were getting a sufficient amount of food for their family size, and we've really still been able to provide them with a variety of food: frozen meat, milk, bread, hygiene, diapers. So we really do feel like we've taken this COVID challenge on and run with it, and we've been successful in helping our clients navigate this scary time as well.
I think we'll just do 2 more, and then we'll do the rest
Out
out
there?
back.
Yeah.
Because I think that those actually do better out there. So we're going to skip one because you've already answered. How has COVID affected the amount of your first-time recipients at your pantry? So
Let me do them. I have the numbers. Let me remember them.
Okay.
Because
you kind of get the idea of the question I'm asking?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The number of first-time recipients we've
Yeah.
seen. Yeah. Okay. Pre-COVID, it was.
I mean, you don't have to be precise.
I know,
Give
but
us
like 300 and okay. Wait, that's not right. 100 a month, so 20. Okay, I'm good now. Okay, so pre-COVID, our first-time families that we would see in a week would average about 25. Peak COVID, it was averaging about 60 a day. So it really dramatically increased how many new families we were seeing, and that was part of the big strain on our processes. Now it's mellowed out at about 100 a week, which is about 10 a day. So it's mellowed out some. It's still dramatically higher than it was before. But in the middle of COVID, it really skyrocketed to a crazy level. And part of that was because we have a service area that we serve. It's Coppell, Farmers Branch, Addison, Carrollton, and then a small part of Dallas. And when COVID hit, we suspended our service area. So anyone who drove to us would get the same amount of food as someone in our service area. So we were seeing a lot of new clients from outside the area who were coming all the way to us to receive food. We have reinstalled those procedures. So if you come to our pantry and you're out of our service area, we still do provide you with a food box. But all those extra items you are not receiving anymore. So clients who are from out of our service area don't get bread, hygiene, household, frozen meat, and milk just because we could not sustain those levels as an agency, but we were glad to be able to help those families at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. So that has helped, I think, with the decrease of new clients that we are seeing, but it did hit an incredibly high level in the peak part of COVID.
And then my other half of that would be,
That's why I wanted to get those numbers right.
No, that was, it's
like,
very
make sure I
dramatic.
say weekday the right.
Yes.
yeah. In dealing with first-time visitors, has your organization faced any new challenges due to this?
So when COVID first hit, how we were seeing everyone in the back, we had everyone fill out an application, but there were different applications for current clients versus new clients. The current clients had a much shorter form because we already had a lot of their information, and new clients had a much longer form. The applications were pretty time consuming, which made our drive-through line go out into the street. And so we were really trying to brainstorm ways to problem solve that. And so now what happens is new clients do still have to fill out a form the first time they come. But after a client comes one time, we print them a card with their household ID number on it. And next time they come, it will be mailed to them. And if they present that card, they do not have to fill out any application. And we were really able to streamline the process. So when they get here, they show us the card, we input their number into a tablet, the service is entered, no application has to change hands, there's no spending minutes writing down all your information, and that has dramatically decreased the amount of time it takes for each client. Now, if they don't bring the card, they do have to fill out the application again, but it has dramatically helped. We're sending out over 100 cards a week, so that really helps keep the line back there moving, and it's a less exchange of physical paper and clipboards and pens, which we do sanitize, but it does take more resources and more time. So that was our biggest struggle, was just the time it took to process new clients on the front end and on the back end.
Do you think that this is something that y'all will keep implementing, using the cards?
We do anticipate staying with the cards. We also have toyed with the idea of appointments for clients, but the cards are definitely something that will stay in place. It's really tremendously faster for us. We have all the information that we need on the card, and it's a lot faster for us to input the service for our system as well. So the cards have really been something beneficial that COVID kind of pushed us to use, and now will be even helpful in a post-COVID world.
Okay, cool.
Recording.
Did you switch over camera?
Okay, now we're good.
Is it blinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, this is our new refrigerator and freezer that's being installed to accommodate the increased need we have to store perishable items. So this will be great for our produce, our meat, our milk, everything will go in here. And one of the really lovely things about it is we'll be able to roll an entire pallet in here. Right now we hand unload everything. Meat boxes are about 50 pounds and we have boxes that stack up this high. So we are incredibly happy to be having this, and we hope it'll be installed soon. And where it is going is the site of where our pantry used to be. So this room used to be filled with shelves. It has all of our goods on it, and the clients would shop like it was a grocery store. So now instead of looking like the grocery store shelves, it looks like the grocery store stock room, but it was really part of what was necessary in order for us to adapt to COVID. We needed more storage space, and we don't anticipate clients coming back inside the building anytime soon. So we really just evaluated where our needs were and what we could do to better serve right now.
Wonderful.
So for this car, it would be one toiletry bag. So each family gets one toiletry bag.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So if it says, if there's 2 on the car, it says they also need this and diapers.
Yes, ma'am.
And what size it'll say, or?
Yeah, so either which number
Oh,
is circled
okay.
will be the
I see.
size
Okay.
diaper.
Okay, and the feminine hygiene things?
And then that will be an F.
Okay. Okay.
So that'll be feminine.
One each? One or-
For the pads, we'll give them 3.
Oh, okay.
And then for the tampons, we'll give them 1 pack.
Okay. All right. And that's it. So this stuff right here, right?
And then
Oh.
these will be adult.
You totally could if you're okay with it. Perfect.
Okay, so we'll get back to the questions now. It's so have y'all had any supply chain issues affecting the organization due to COVID specifically?
Yes, so at the beginning of COVID, we were experiencing the same issues that individuals were experiencing when they went to the grocery store, the places that we receive our food from, which is primarily North Texas Food Bank and other distributors. They were also experiencing the same issue. It was just really hard to find food anywhere. So luckily, we never got to a point where we were completely out of food. The community was really generous. They helped supplement anything that we needed. We are incredibly grateful for all of their help, but it was very difficult for us to find food for a while, and we really had to scramble to get everything that we needed for clients. Luckily now, that has not been an issue. We are always preparing for what can happen next. It's a very unknown situation right now. We don't know what's going to happen with food supply, what's going to happen with COVID, what's going to happen with the economy, so we're really trying to be as prepared as possible. But right now, luckily, food scarcity is not an issue, but it was definitely a big issue at the beginning of COVID.
Okay. So have y'all had any shortages, a scarcity of staple food items, or any abundances?
So, abundances, I don't really think we've seen any particular abundances. It's mostly the same level we've had before. We have most control over what goes into our boxes, so anytime that we start to have a lot of one item, we'll really push that in the box. We have a little bit extra built-in space, so anytime anything starts to really build up, we can put that in the boxes. The biggest food item that we don't have as big a use for is snacks. We're really trying to make sure families get grains and protein and all the important items. So the thing that builds up the most for us is snacks. But we do still build those back into the boxes, but that's the biggest surplus we have. Otherwise, we have a pretty big control over what we bring in and what we order. And so for us, we don't have an abundance of anything. As far as what I'm seeing elsewhere, it does seem pretty standard levels. It really just, we order what we can, and it kind of pulls from everywhere.
You were saying about just a second ago. I'm sorry, I lost my question for just a second.
That's okay.
You're talking about what was she talking about this second ago? Y'all do you prepare the boxes in a dietary what am I'm looking for the word.
With dietary guidelines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do utilize the MyPlate.
I'm sorry, it's going to be too. Go.
So do y'all have any dietary guidelines you follow for building these boxes?
Yes, so we utilize the MyPlate system. We try to follow that as closely as we can. We really try to make sure each family gets enough pounds of food for how many household members that they have. So part of what we do when they come through is ask them how many people are in their family, and that determines how much food they get outside. And we really try to build the box around making sure we have the correct percentage of grains, correct percentage of protein, that they're getting enough supplementary produce aside from the box. So we really try to follow the MyPlate guidelines, or what we use as our basis, and we follow those as closely as we can to make sure families are getting the right amount of every food group to help them lead healthy life as they're struggling through this time.
I'm going to skip the. So, do y'all have any local farmers involved? Would they or have you dealt with farmers before?
Do we have produce boxes? Hold on. Let me see if we have produce. Oh, you're fine. Okay, you're good.
Go ahead.
She's fine. Okay, so this is one of the food boxes that we have received from Denton Creek Farms. We're partnering with them as part of a program Denton County is running, and they are providing us with these boxes on a weekly basis to help serve our Denton County families. And they've been really great in helping us customize. If we don't have enough refrigeration space, they'll help take out produce that really requires more refrigeration. Luckily, with our new fridge, we'll hopefully have plenty of that space, but it's been a really excellent partnership. They've helped us make sure that we always have enough produce for our families. So that's part of our farmer partnerships. We get a lot of our produce from North Texas Food Banks, so they have their own USDA and other farm partners. We also partner with all of the local community gardens. They bring us produce weekly, and we rebag that and give it out to clients. We try to make sure if it has one type of item in it, there's enough of that to help them make a meal. So we don't want to give them one bell pepper. That's not going to help them very much. So everything that we bring in from community gardens, we rebag, and that's a really excellent partnership from us because the clients are getting super fresh, really delicious produce. And then we also had been partnering with a farm in north of Denton called D-Bar, and we had volunteers actually going out to their farm to pick up produce and bring it back, and we also rebag that. So local farmers have been really helpful in gardeners and making sure that our clients are getting fresh produce and a variety of produce, which is really something that I know that they value from our pantry and other pantries. So you can see what's in there.
Perfect.
Hand model.
Well, the chef, I'm thrilled.
That's how I. Okay.
Oh, let's let him through real fast.
Okay.
We can start, sorry.
Now go ahead.
Okay. Oh, my name badge is behind me now, though.
That's fine.
Okay, so this will be our last question, and it's what is your plans for the future, and have y'all made any plans for a possible recession?
So in regard to a recession and COVID, we just anticipate that anything can happen at any point in time. So we really try to make sure we keep our food supply at as maintainable but high level as we can. We're doing things like installing the refrigerator and freezer just so that whatever happens, we're equipped to handle it. Luckily, we've managed to make it through the peak of the COVID panic that we've had thus far, which will help us with hopefully any struggles we have in the future, because it really helped us figure out what works, what doesn't, and where to go from there. So if there is a recession, we'll just take it on the same way we did COVID, and hopefully with a little bit more knowledge than we had before.
Wonderful.
I'm glad I got my hair cut.
Act natural. That's always hard to do. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it just started, it was working and then it started.
Okay.
This is our truck. He's bringing butter, I think.
Oh, this is perfect.
Oh, it's kind of the. Go ahead.
I brought the wrong milk. I brought the shells.
We gotta get out of her hair.
Yeah.